Hi everyone, this is Crystal B. Thanks for tuning in to Crystal B Talks. I like to emphasize that life is about living in a STEM world, which consists of science, technology, engineering, and math. And today I'm located in St. Louis, Missouri. I have a wonderful guest. She was on NBC, The Voice, season 18, and one of the top 9 contestants. As we talk today, you will see how STEM plays a big role in her accomplishments. Let's welcome Joanna. Yay!
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So, Joanna, for the viewers who may not know much about you, what is some of the inspirations that got you into singing?
Well, my mom was definitely a huge inspiration. She got me into singing just ever since I was a little kid, always
Okay.
having music playing around the house and getting me into musical theater and just really encouraging
Mm,
me getting into vocal lessons and stuff like that. I started when I was around 6 years old. So I always had her as a huge inspiration for my music.
mhm.
But yeah, that was probably how I started out in the music
In the
industry.
music industry, cool. And like, how do you prepare yourself before a concert or a performance?
Usually, I like to prepare myself by just having a few good rehearsals and kind of if it's kind of one of a bigger show, then I like to write out everything I want to say because
Mm,
sometimes that can trip me up. I'm more
okay.
of like into the singing part and less than the talking part.
So,
So,
like, you talk before, like, you give a speech.
or I'll just talk about the song. I'll just say,
Oh,
hey, this
okay.
song's about yada yada yada, and
Hmm.
just kind of planning out things in my head to kind of make myself less anxious about that part. I
Mm.
think the more you prepare, the less it kind of
Yep.
nerves, kind of go away.
I agree with that,
So,
honestly. Now, I know some singers, they say they eat a potato chip before they like perform because it
right.
like soothes their
I'll
throat.
always say, like, hey, I need some grease in my vocal cords. We can go get, like, chicken or something. Canes is usually a go to.
Awesome.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I know different people have different, um, I don't know, perceptions of what helps them.
Hmm.
I do like greasy food. So I'll never turn down greasy food.
Do you think it helps when you sing?
I think it helps. Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
I think staying hydrated is a really important thing, though.
Oh,
Water.
true. Hmm.
Um, Sometimes if you're too dry, then that can, you know, affect you.
Hmm.
So I have a big gallon water bottle. I don't have it with me today, but it's a big guy from Amazon.
Mm. Do you have like any like kind of like mojo before you perform in a way? Like, do you
Hmm.
do like I know some people
Like
do like
rituals.
yeah. Hmm.
Well, I have a really strong support system, and
Okay.
just kind of leaning into them is really helpful.
Okay.
My boyfriend, his name's Tyler.
Mm.
Tyler Dale is his stage name, but his name is Tyler Dale Elder, and
Oh.
we've been together for about 4 years. He plays guitar in my band,
Hmm.
and has just always been a huge support for me. And then his sister's name is Kristen,
Mm.
and she's just such a beautiful human. She's very healing, and
Aw,
leaning into them is really helpful for me to just be able to get into the right mindset for
I love it.
performing,
Hmm.
and just knowing like this is all, for God, and like just for the
Yep.
joy of doing it and for the people who come to see it. And sometimes, like as an artist, and I mean, as a human, it can be easy to get into your own head
Hmm.
about just, having everybody else's opinions kind of like infiltrate the real
Oh, true.
part of
Hmm.
what you're trying to get at. And
Yeah.
yeah, they really help ground me. So I
So
think
you
having a
feel.
strong support system is definitely kind of my ritual or routine, is just kind of praying with them, leaning into them, and just kind of being with them.
I
So I
love
perform with
it.
them quite a bit.
Hmm.
We perform together. I perform with Tyler as a duo, and sometimes we have Kristen sit in and we play as a trio. And then I also have a full band too, 6 piece or
Oh,
seven with Kristen. So
so it's
yeah.
called 6 piece.
Oh no, it's just keys, bass, guitar, drums,
Oh, okay.
um, Tyler on guitar, yeah, two guitars, and then djembe with Kristen. She plays djembe. It's like a drum. So
Oh, so also for the viewers who may not know, you also play the guitar.
I do play the guitar. Yes, I play a little
Yes.
guitar and a little keyboard.
Hmm.
Um, Played trombone back in the day, high school band. Uh, I haven't picked that up in a second, so I shouldn't promote
Oh.
that. But yeah, and I'm trying to incorporate more of my instruments into performing. I think for a long time I just like to let my band or Tyler kind of like do the guitar for me. It's easier for me to just focus on the vocals.
Oh, uh-huh.
But
Instead of multitasking.
Yeah, but it's getting easier as I do it more and just kind of trust myself more with it and put myself in the situations where I can practice and just do it more. Just got 2 new guitars. I got a Martin CEO7 and a Martin 00018, and they just sound so beautiful when we play them together. So really
So what do the numbers mean?
I do not know. That's not a question for me. That's a question for a guitar player. But
okay.
yeah, I don't know what they mean.
So how do they sound?
They're kind of like
Are they electric guitars?
They're acoustics.
Acoustic.
Yeah, acoustics.
Okay.
The Martin 00018 just sounds really warm. Like we used to have a Taylor, and the Taylor kind of just has a more of a tinny, like bright sound to it. So this is just definitely more of like a warm. It's so easy to play, and it was definitely a big girl purchase. But you know, you get what you pay for sure.
Yes. So I know for singers, everybody's voice is different, right? And I feel like everybody could be singers. But specifically with like professional singers, their voice kind of like so when you sing, right? When you sing, you have two muscles that kind of vibrate together. This is the sciencey part of singing that I just wanted to mention. And you can, like, every time you change it, go high and down, it always vibrates. So when you sing and you change your like pitches, how do you kind of like navigate with that?
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of it comes just from listening to whatever melody you're trying to replicate and just playing around with your voice. And, you know, sometimes you land on the wrong thing and it doesn't sound right, but then you just practice it and you're able to just kind of like try and match the pitch up to what you're listening to. And yeah, I think a lot of it just comes from trying to emulate the artist or whoever you're trying to kind of like replicate. So, and that's how people find their voice a lot of times is like their voices are influenced by different people that they listen to. So I don't know, my influences range so much. I've started off in my early life just like listening to show tunes and Disney, and my mom got me really into musical theater, and so I was always really into that.
Oh, so you like Broadway?
Oh yeah, I love Broadway. And then in middle school, high school, kind of started getting more into like hip hop and R&B and soul and blues. But my mom always played country too growing up, so I just have that influence as well. But a lot of different influences, and then when you listen to all these different voices and you pick up on the things you like, you kind of start to incorporate that into your own sound as well.
That's true.
So I think that's just a beautiful thing about music is we're all sharing it and we're all kind of taking bits and pieces of what we like and contributing our own sound to that. So
yes, I could agree to that. And then also when you was on NBC The Voice, what type of genre of music you was like singing?
On that show I did it probably a little bit of everything. My blind audition was a jazzy version of a Beatles song called All My Lovin'. Amy Winehouse covered it, and I kind of took some things from her arrangement of that, so it was kind of more jazzy. And then the next song I did was When the Party's Over by Billie Eilish. So like
I love Billie Eilish
pop realm, you know. And then my third song was a Bonnie Raitt tune, which is kind of like more on the bluesy country side of things, Americana, folk kind of realm. And so I think I got a good mix of all the different genres. And then I got sing later on a little bit of Lean on Me, and then a little James Taylor, like just a good mix of everything, which is definitely how I would describe my influences and my sound.
Oh, I love that. You had like a different genres and different artists.
Yeah, for each round.
So how was it for the first round?
Honestly,
how was like your feeling?
Yeah, it was definitely the most nerve-wracking thing. But I would say the first one was the easiest because it just got harder from there.
For real?
Yeah, the first one was easiest because all I had to do was turn one chair in order to make the next round. So I just kind of went into it with this feeling of just trusting myself, and I practiced really, really hard. So like I was just, you know, it was just a matter of doing it at that point. And it really helped that, you know, the lights were off in the audience. I couldn't see anything except for the 4 chairs, but I kind of just like tuned those out as well and really just honed in on myself. So was it like a big audience? You know, I played for bigger audiences. Like they make it look really big on screen. But like I played at the Fox Theater that same year earlier in the year, and that was a way bigger audience. So like I think that helped kind of break that ceiling for me and worry less about that. I think I did get in my head about it later on in the show, just about, you know, realizing that there are millions of people about to watch this video, and like
yeah.
that can
National TV.
yeah,
Yep.
and having mentality or little moments like that, it really does affect, your mentality really does affect your musicality. And I think it's really like 50% skill and 50% mentality too.
I feel like mentality goes hand in hand with everything. Like
Everything, for
it
sure.
affects your work, it affects your school,
Mhm.
it affects anything that you do. So when you have
Yeah.
like a good mindset, I feel like you could just accomplish everything,
Totally.
anything.
It's very true.
I could agree with that. So
Yeah, I love that.
So when you was in the top 9, like how was the competition? Like how was
Oh,
it?
everybody was incredible. Everybody was
Everybody?
awesome. I
Okay.
mean, it was I couldn't, narrow it down. I think the judges
Oh.
really had a hard coaches. They're called coaches.
Okay.
I think the coaches probably had a hard time,
Mhm.
as well. I mean, I think, out of our group, was out of 40,000 people that auditioned, and so it kind of got narrowed down to like, some really good people. So it was difficult. It was very difficult, and
Mhm.
I don't think, I mean, everybody had their own sound and, personality. And like, I don't think that it can be compared,
Yeah.
like, I think it's like apples to oranges at sometimes. And it's just like a matter of what they want for the show. So
Yeah.
it's not a matter of people being better than one another, but just,
Mhm.
what they're kind of looking for.
Were you surprised you was able to make it to the top 9, or you already knew you was going to do it?
I like took every day as it came. I
Okay.
mean, it was definitely a lot of work, and uh, I wasn't even like, I don't know. I thought I could make it. I thought I could go all the way,
Mhm.
but by the time I did get to top 9, by the time it was over for me, I was like, phew, like,
At least you
I'm
was making
good.
it to the top 9. Some people couldn't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself. I feel like it was definitely
Mhm.
a huge accomplishment.
Mhm.
I still can't believe it happened. It's very surreal. Very
Yeah.
surreal.
And how old were you when you competed?
I was 18 during my blind audition, and then I turned 19 during the live rounds. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
over a span of a year. It was a very long process.
Very long process.
Yeah.
So did you spend your senior year doing that?
So I graduated high school, and it was the year after I graduated when I went on the show. So I took a gap year before
Oh.
college.
I mean, you had a good
It
reason,
was a
so
good gap year. Yeah. I
it was
mean,
a good
and then
reason.
so it was one of those things. So it was also the year COVID hit. So I
Oh.
graduated in
Mhm.
2019, went on the show in August, or auditioned for the show in August. It
Mhm.
took that whole span of that year, like August, October, kind of was when I was in LA recording. They gave us the holidays home, and then I came back the following year, and
Mhm.
came back like in January and February. Kind of did some recording,
Mm.
but then COVID hit, so everything got shut
Ah.
down, and
Mhm.
that was kind of when I decided, my momentum is kind of killed here, so I'm gonna
Okay.
do some college and knock out my college degree, because everything was shut down and I couldn't really go off and do my gigs
Mhm.
because no one was there. So everything shut down. I just
Mhm.
figured, might as well go do some college.
I feel like a
So
lot of things like stop, like crowds, performances.
it was a
Like,
hard
yeah,
time.
it
It
was
was
a
a very
hard
hard time,
time.
especially
Mhm.
for the music community,
Mhm.
especially for people who do that solely,
Yeah. Mhm.
It was very dark, especially as creatives, like you get
Yeah.
your energy from giving your gifts to other people, giving your creativeness to other
Yes.
people. And like that was, it all went online, and, we missed that human
Interaction.
interaction and
Mhm.
energy and reciprocation. And yeah, it was definitely a very hard time.
Mhm. Did you have like any obstacles from the show, or just like as you performance wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest obstacle was just, like I said, realizing. I remember the moment that I realized, like, it was during my knockout round, and I was singing a Bonnie Raitt tune, Angel from Montgomery, and I just looked off into the audience, and I just, in my head, had the realization, like, millions of people are about to watch you do this. And it was just that thought alone that kind
While
of,
you were singing?
yeah, while I was
Oh
singing. Yeah.
wow.
And like I said, the mentality definitely affects your musicality. I
Mm.
felt like that wasn't my best. I mean, looking back on it, like
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I did a fine job, but like it's just
Yeah.
that I
But
can
that.
tell I can tell,
Mhm.
my mentality was just a little like uneasy, and it's also just compounded with the fact that I had to like beat this other chick, you know, like in a knockout. And I'm like overthinking that. She ended up meeting me, but like I ended up getting stolen by Blake and moving on to the next round, thankfully. But yeah, I remember not being able to like float around the notes as easy as I wanted to, just because I had that mentality of like, you're being watched by millions of people right now.
It just
like,
came out of nowhere?
Oh no, I mean, like I think those feelings are always there. I think in the blind audition I was able to just relax a little more because it didn't matter to me as much. Like I knew that I could get to the next round.
Yeah.
But I think I had an added pressure of just like everybody else, you know, like when you're not focused on yourself, it's just so much easier to fall down because you're caring about what other people are thinking. And like ultimately it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
It doesn't. And I remember reading a book, don't quote me on this, I think it was the Blue Ocean Strategy book, and they even mentioned that in order to be great, or like as a company or as like an individual contributor, you can't worry about competition, because then you're going to focus solely on the wrong thing. So if you open yourself up and just be creative, I think Netflix did a great job about this, and Marvel, they made their space like more creative. So when you open yourself up and don't worry about the next person doing, you could see other flaws or other stuff that you can improve on.
Exactly. I totally agree. When you're focusing on what other people are doing or thinking about you, then you're not focusing on you and what you're offering. So I think that was definitely an important lesson, and I'm grateful that I had that experience, even though you know, looking back on it, I wish I would have done things differently or thought differently, or but you know, it was just every performance is a lesson. Like even now I still have moments where I'm tuning into the audience, or you know, having different things floating through my brain while I'm singing, and just always navigating, you know, through every show that I have, and growing as an artist, and it's all just kind of building in.
So what type, I should have mentioned this earlier, so what actual type of music you make? Like what genre of music?
Yeah, I mean, I am really trying to get away from genre in general. Like I think some of the best musicians out there, you can't really box them into it. I mean, you can try, but I mean, like Stevie Wonder, or you know, Whitney Houston, like, or I don't know, you can think of so many, but like, yeah, you can box them in and say they're soul, or you know, I think it's just so much more beautiful, like, and you know that that's just who they are, you know, that's their music, and that's kind of what I want to build to, is like Joanna Serenko, like, you know, there's no
you could do it all
genre that you fit in, because like I'm so inspired by everything, like I'm so inspired by country, but like I don't want to be like, okay, I'm a country artist, I can only do dang-a-lang-a-lang, like, you know, like I want to, and that's another thing too, when I work with other, like when I collaborate with my band, like I want all my people to bring in all of their ideas, and it just kind of forms something like it's new, it's like never been done, you know, like I don't know, I feel like the whole genre
is
thing,
different.
it's kind of enclosing you in, you know, a little bit. So but if I were to describe myself, I would say like acoustic singer songwriter, like blues, R&B, you know, something like that. But I don't really identify with any of those things like individually, you know. So I think I'm just like a mix of all of it. And
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot in the music world. Like they don't want to like categorize themselves into like one specific thing, because if they want to venture out and do pop music, you know.
And then people who thought you were this genre are going to be mad at you for doing another genre. It's like, that was never the agreement here. I'm an artist. Like I'm going to make what I love.
I'm an artist first.
Yeah, exactly.
I could testify to that. So getting into Joanna, what are some hobbies that you like to do outside of music?
Well, I love nature. I love just exploring the world. I really want to do some traveling after college. Another thing that we haven't talked about is nursing. My mom is a nurse, my grandma was a nurse, and whenever COVID hit and I decided to go to college, like I kind of landed on nursing. It was a really long, really, really long, drawn out decision, but finally landed on nursing because I kind of, you know, I felt like I had my music community, and that was something that like I could go to. And I have a dog. His name's Cedar. I love taking him for walks.
I love animals.
Yeah, he's awesome. Trying to think of more hobbies. I haven't gotten a lot of time to just like have just free time of creativeness and doing, like I love painting and art and just any creative outlets I'm very interested in.
I love
So
that.
yeah.
And going back to music wise, so what is the ways that you guys like promote your music? Like, is it on Apple Music or?
Our music is out on all streaming platforms.
Oh.
We always need to be doing a better job of promoting. I think that's always something artists struggle with. I mean, some artists struggle, some artists are really good at it,
Right.
obviously. I'm the one that struggles with it, but I think self-promotion can be difficult at times. But yeah, you can follow us on social media. My name is Joanna Serenko at Joanna Serenko on all social media. I'm obviously suck at this. But yeah, and then my boyfriend Tyler's music. His name's Tyler Dale. So he's on Instagram at Tyler Dale Music. And he's working on releasing his album as well. So we're going to get that out by the end of the year. And yeah, and I got a really big show coming up at the City Winery. It's on November 24th. So that's the day after Thanksgiving. So if you are free, I'd love to see you there. It's going to be an awesome full band show. And we're going to play through my album. So
Through your album. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So you incorporate a lot of technology into like promoting your music on like Apple Music, Spotify, all the streaming platforms. Have you made any music videos?
I have one music video out. It's for my song called Sister of Nostalgia. It's out on YouTube. It was produced by JT Ibanez. He did an amazing job. And yeah, that's the one music video I have out. But yeah, we're going to work on getting some more out.
How many songs on your album?
I have 14 songs out.
Oh, that's a good
on the album.
Oh.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe it might be too much, but it was just like my whole catalog at the time. And I was like, this feels cohesive. I'm just going to release that. So
there's artists that make more.
True. And then I realized that. I'm like, all right.
So Joanna, so I know you're a vocal coach as well. So what age ranges do you help?
I've taught different ages of all ages, but I've taught all different ages, but I really like teaching the kiddos. I feel like I'm just really good at giving them a foundation to start with. I would like to go take some classes on like the pedagogy, is that the right word? Of teaching, like with, the anatomy and all those things. But right now I just like teaching the kids because I like giving them, here's how you stand and here's where you breathe and just kind of like giving them the idea of like where their voice is at and just being able to experiment with them and sing with them and hope their favorite songs and just kind of give them like a love for learning. Because I feel like it really matters like having a teacher at the young age because and like their relationship with the teacher because that kind of defines a relationship with the music too. Like if they dread going to music class, then so I like to make it real fun for them, let them pick out their songs and just build their confidence. I think that's something that I would have loved to like kind of. I mean, I had a great teacher, and I loved whenever she would pour into me as far as my confidence goes because that just helps so much in the long run with like believing in yourself and like I said, back to the mentality thing, like when you know that you can do something, then it helps you do it way better, Yeah,
so, I also know like the smallest human interaction can like inspire you too. So just like seeing like an authority figure because you teach kids, so like kids looking up to you, be like, oh my gosh, and just see your excitement and see how like excited you are and into it. It makes them like that way too.
True, exactly.
So I could testify to that. And then also when you help them like do like breathing exercises, like what is like the common thing all singers do like to help them breathe?
Well, one thing that I talk about is like so I don't know if you've ever done like dance before, but in dance all the air kind of goes up to the shoulders. They tense it at like kind of like up here, but with singing you want to send all of that down. So like instead of tensing anything up here, we want to relax it all up here and tense everything at the bottom and have really strong legs, have really strong diaphragm. And for breathing, we want to breathe kind of like down in our bellies. So like, as opposed to, because it's more shallow.
Different.
You hear
now
the
I hear it,
right? So relaxing everything up here really helps because if you're tight up here, then you can't really get those notes out as easy. So that's one thing I kind of teach about. And then just kind of like whenever you're singing, I think a lot of people have a tendency to sing the way they talk, and that's kind of like closed mouthed. but we have to kind of really open our mouth whenever we're singing.
Mm-hmm.
Like dropping your jaw really creates that resonant hall for sound.
Oh.
Really helps like when you're ever trying to hit high notes or just have a stronger tone in general. Really just making kind of a resonant hall in your voice. I tell kids like pretend you have an apple in there, or like pretend you like shoved a tennis ball like in there, you know, and it really helps them open up and helps them with their volume. Like a lot of kids are really timid, but it helps kind of open up a little bit. So those are some of the things that we work on.
Oh, that goes into science, like the anatomy of the body. You know,
Mhm.
there. I didn't even know like the different functions of like how you breathe, like affect your singing, affect the way you talk.
Yeah.
So that's very like
Yeah,
interesting.
totally.
You just taught me something, so that's really cool.
Yeah, totally. Whenever they teach you in language, like the vowels are A, E, I, O, U. When we're singing, we go A, E, I, O, U, and it really kind of drops the jaw, like really helps with the volume. So yeah, that's another thing that we talk about.
Okay, since we're talking about that, what's another thing like that singers or a method that singers do to help them enunciate words when they sing?
Like pronunciate the words. We do a lot like of warm-ups, like what's a good warm-up? Pronunciation warm-up would be mommy made me mash my M&Ms. Like really working on
like a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's a little tongue twisters, red leather, yellow leather. Those are always fun, just kind of help with like just working with like just playing with it, you know, like a lot of it is experimentation and like you just mess up, and then when you mess up then you learn from it and you're like, oh well, that's not how that sounds, like I should do it like this. So I think just like a huge part of it is just creating a space for people to like make those mistakes and learn from them, and like that's how you grow. So creating a space for that, because I think, you know, you don't always want to do that. You always strive for perfection.
Yeah.
And it's always like, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't want to mess up. No, it's like, mess up. This is your living room. Like, just make the mistake. Be loud and proud. You know. So I just want to create space for people to do that, because that's the only way you learn. That's by making mistakes.
Yeah, that's a life lesson. That's a gem right there.
It is.
Yes. Because one thing that I learned is that people could tell you their mistakes. You could like watch what happened to a person if like they make a wrong decision, but you probably would never get it until it happens to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you'd be like, and now it's like embedded in your brain now. Like, okay, I learned from this. You know, it happened to me once. It ain't gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying? So that is a good gem right there. What can the viewers expect from you music wise coming up?
Well, so I've got my full length album out on all streaming platforms. It's Best of Me. You can go check that out. I am currently like in the midst of writing right now, so I'm not really releasing anything quite yet. But I'll probably get to that phase next year, early next year, and just doing some writing here and there, but nothing that's ready to be out yet. So you can continue to support me by listening to the music that is out, by coming to my show on November 24th at the City Winery. And hope to see you there. Hope to see you at all future events.
Yes. And remember, it's a City Winery in St. Louis, Missouri. So be on the lookout.
There are many city wineries, but the one in St. Louis,
Yes. Well, thanks, Joanna, for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And remember, everyone, if you're trying to find ways to better your lifestyle, you can use different forms of science, technology, engineering, and math. And no matter what your occupation is in life, no matter if you're a driver, an athlete, or a singer, you can always use the STEM formula to better your lifestyle and to be the best version of yourself. Bye, everybody. See you in the next episode.
You were in my dream last night for the first time in a long time. If I'm being honest, I was surprised to see you